Hi everyone, it's Sunday today, currently Sunday evening, and this is going to be the start of a brand new reading vlog, which is a brand new thing for my channel. I've never done it before. It's definitely an experiment, but let's see if it works. When I started BookTube, reading vlogs were not a thing. They didn't exist, and nowadays they seem to be like a staple kind of video that a lot of people are doing. I feel like the reason why they're really popular is because it gives people a chance to document what they're reading and share their thoughts on the books as they read them, rather than just doing a review after they've finished the entire book. And I suppose I'll be able to film a couple of minutes every day as and when I read stuff and just document my thoughts on what I'm reading, what I like, what I don't like. I'm going to try and do them so they're like reading vlogs slash reviews. So I will take the approach of a book review where I won't include any spoilers. In my opinion, book reviews are kind of for people who haven't read the book and they want to know if they should read it or not. So I'm going to have the reading vlogs as a kind of similar thing to that, whereas a book discussion would include spoilers and only people could watch it if they'd read the book. The book I'm currently reading, and I'll be including in this vlog, and I'm going to probably do separate reading vlogs for separate books. The book I am reading is Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad. I'm filming on my camera phone. I'm filming on my phone, and it has this really weird focus. So if I hold it up there, kind of focuses sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't. But this is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. It's a book I actually planned to read last year. I think I did a book haul last September, and I was saying I was going to read it back then, and I never got around to it. It's a really dark book dealing with slavery in the south of the United States. So you have to really be in the right kind of mindset, I think, to read it and tackle it. It's very dark and very gruesome so far. I'm around 50 pages in at the moment. It's already showing slavery to obviously be really dehumanizing, and some of the scenes so far are just horrific. Some of the violence that the slaves are subjected to. It deals with slaves being brought by boat across to the US, and then they're passed around from plantation to plantation, from slave owner to slave owner. They have to go through this really humiliating bidding process, so they're basically just dehumanized and objects to be bought and sold by rich white landowners, and it's just horrific to read. And it's definitely one of those books so far where you have to take your time with it. You have to kind of reflect on what you're reading and be really serious about it. So it's not really a page turner that I'm just rushing through. I'm really taking my time with this. It's about 9:30 at the moment. I'm going to probably read for about an hour and progress a little bit further with the book. I'm not sure how far I'll get, but I'll probably sign on in another vlog tomorrow and update you with how I get on. Hi everyone, so it's now Monday about 5:30. I've just finished work and it's time to get reading. And I just want to say, in the last vlog, I think the camera was a bit weird, so I'm not sure if I was looking into the right lens. Definitely something I need to work on with these reading vlogs. And also the mirroring was really weird. So when I held up the book, I think it was back to front. Hopefully I've sorted it now. Last night I managed to read about 30 more pages of The Underground Railroad, and it's definitely picking up the pace now, and I'm really getting into it. I feel like I'm starting to empathise with the characters more. The book's also now starting to explain the actual concept of the Underground Railroad. So it's basically like a secret route which slaves followed historically in order to move from slave states where slavery was legal to free states where it's illegal. And it's a very difficult process for the slaves to do this. Whenever the slaves try to escape, it's very easy for them to be caught. So the slave owners have set up dogs, and they've trained the dogs to listen out and to smell out any slaves that are escaping, and then they'll obviously start barking and making noise, and then they will notify the slave owners, who will be aware that their slaves are trying to escape. So it's all very planned out and oppressive for those that are not in power. The book's definitely showing so far how racist ideas were ingrained in people's minds at the time. So in terms of race relations and who was worthy and who wasn't worthy. And the idea of escaping for some of these slaves is actually quite overwhelming as a concept, because they've been brought up in such a way where any kind of freedom just seems so distant from them. It just seems impossible. It seems like they're never going to be free. And at the moment, the main character, Cora, is trying to escape with someone called Caesar, who is another slave. And I just find it really intriguing. So I'm going to read some more of this tonight and hopefully it'll continue picking up the pace. And I'm not sure how much I'll get through, but I'll update you a bit later on. So I've managed to read, I'm not sure how many more pages because I'm not very good at maths, but I've managed to get to page 150. And honestly, this book is really good. I think it's really well written. I can conclude that right now. I know I've not even got halfway through the book yet, but it's really moving. I think it's really well constructed. It's moved around from a few different perspectives so far. So you get to have different backstories from different kinds of characters, including those who have been slave catchers, as well as the slaves themselves, such as Cora, who's the protagonist. There's also this bit where there's a museum, and I don't want to explain how there's a museum and why there's a museum and how it appears in the book. But I think it's really interesting in terms of what it represents for what the book's trying to achieve as a whole, because it basically shows a series of exhibitions which show very stereotypical African histories. The history of slaves is simplified, and what this book is trying to do is to recover those histories that have been silenced and to present a different and potentially more accurate version of events to the one that were often given in official narratives. And certainly in the 1800s, when narratives were written about slavery, they were very different to the kind of things presented in this book. And I think that idea of recovering voices and recovering history is really interesting. It's actually something I wrote about in my university dissertation, which was partly about 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, which is a Latin American book, which partly deals with plantation slavery in Colombia and banana plantations in particular. And that book also had a lot about historical narratives and the way that they've been constructed by people in power. Gabriel Garcia Marquez was always trying to rewrite narratives and to bring a different perspective to readers. And I think this book is kind of similar in terms of what it's trying to achieve. And I suppose a lot of historical fiction is like that as well, trying to give voices to people who historically haven't had voices. So I think this is a great book and I have loads to say about it already. I think this is quite a long reading vlog already. This is only the third clip I've filmed. But I'm very impressed by this and I just can't wait to read more of it. Fast forward to Tuesday and it actually feels like this week has already been quite long, but I'm continuing tonight with The Underground Railroad. I've not read too much of it today. I have quite a busy day today and I've had loads of commitments and I'm not sure how much I'll be able to read tonight either. So I don't really have many updates really, but I'm still really enjoying the book. I think it's really well written. I'm definitely starting to feel like the characters, particularly Cora as the protagonist, I think they're starting to become a bit more nuanced now. They're very complex characters. They're very ambitious in terms of what they want to achieve, escaping from slavery. But they're also very anxious about what it might mean because it's obviously not something that they've experienced before. I'm excited to read more about them. I definitely think the character development is getting better. I think the plot as a whole is very captivating. I'm not too sure how much I'll read tonight, but I'm still loving the book, so that's the main thing. Hi everyone, today is Wednesday and it's actually Wednesday evening right now, about 8 o'clock at night. Today has been the hottest day in the UK this year. It's very, very hot. I've been working all day, but it's time to start reading. And obviously I'm going to be reading more of The Underground Railroad. I'm getting into the territory now where I can't really talk about too much in these vlogs, otherwise I'll end up spoiling what's actually happening. And as I said at the beginning, I don't want these videos to be spoilery. I just want to make sure that you know what the book's like and what I'm thinking about it in general. And I'm trying to be insightful and as analytical as possible without giving anything away, which can be quite difficult sometimes. I'm also obviously still getting used to actually doing these kind of vlogs on my phone, and it is really weird not doing a sit-down video with a tripod and lighting and all of that kind of stuff. These are just really kind of casual and more relaxed. I didn't actually get to read that much of the book last night. I was just so busy yesterday that I couldn't really properly get into it, and that's nothing to do with the book, it's just because I was really busy. But tonight I have a lot more free time, I've not got any commitments, so I'm excited to read a little bit more of this. I am about 50% of the way through now, and hopefully over the next day or two I'll be able to get a lot further. I'm not working tomorrow actually, so I'll be able to spend the whole day reading if I want to. So let's get reading some more of The Underground Railroad. I've managed to get to page 240 this evening, and honestly I know the entire book is horrific, but something particularly horrific has just happened, and just as you think things are starting to get better, the whole narrative just shifts. It sounds kind of weird, but it almost made me jump out of my skin. It was kind of unexpected. I think I almost got into a false sense of security with the narrative, and any kind of dramatic changes are just it just shocked me really. It is a really unpredictable read. It doesn't follow the kind of narrative that you're always expecting. The last 50 pages as well have been particularly interesting because it's dealt a lot more with race relations and races actually mixing in different states of America, as obviously there's differences between free states and slave states, and that dynamic between the different races is done in a very tasteful and very nuanced way. I don't think it's kind of stereotyped. I think it's a lot more complex than some people might always or sometimes assume. Everything is presented with a lot of sensitivity. I really appreciate that. It's not kind of black and white. So I'm definitely going to read some more of this tomorrow. I don't know where it's going now. There are a lot of different perspectives at the moment. The book keeps changing between different perspectives and different kind of mini narratives within the main narrative. So let's see what happens tomorrow when I read a bit more. Hi everyone, today it is Thursday and I'm obviously reading a bit more of The Underground Railroad. I'm reading outside today because it's boiling again and it's just nice to appreciate the weather and read this amazing book. Today's actually my day off, so I have a little bit more time to read, which is great. I think I might possibly finish the book today actually. I've read about 80 more pages already this morning and it's still very shocking, it's very disturbing. There's been a lot more in the last 80 pages or so that I've read this morning about sort of the backstory of slave catchers and the purpose of them and how it's kind of used for profit. So obviously the slave catchers get paid for each slave that they catch. And again, it's just this awful, destructive example of capitalism and the way that society was just really unfair and the way that slaves were just turned into profit and they weren't really seen as any more than just a piece in the economy. So I'm going to continue reading this afternoon. Today's also a really exciting day because I have a BookTube live show on Shah's channel, Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. It's the first BookTube live show that I've done since about 2013, so it's been a very long time. I'm very much looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really great fun. We're going to be talking about being BookTube oldies and obviously been on BookTube now for 9 years on my channel, which is insane, as I said in my last video. So I'm excited for that this evening, but until then I'm going to be reading some more of The Underground Railroad and potentially finishing it today actually, because I just seem to be reading loads today. I'm really getting into the book and I'm really not sure what's going to happen and how it's going to end. Fast forward a bit and I have now finished this incredible book, The Underground Railroad. I just couldn't stop reading it this afternoon. It was so powerful. Like the last 100 pages were so unpredictable, really poignant and had such a great impact. Obviously I'm not going to reveal exactly what happens, but I found the ending was unpredictable yet also open-ended. I feel like there's further places where the story potentially could have gone or could go. I'm not sure if there are any plans to write a sequel or anything like that, but it was an amazing book. I honestly have really enjoyed reading this. It's the first book I've read in a long time and it was an amazing book. It was really horrific and difficult to read. Obviously you kind of need to be in the right mindset to read it, but it's incredibly worthwhile, incredibly educational and moving, and it really just had everything I was looking for from a piece of historical fiction. So because I said at the beginning I kind of wanted to treat these reading vlogs as reviews, I am going to rate The Underground Railroad and I'm giving it, unsurprisingly, 5 out of 5 stars, which is not something I usually give easily, but this was a powerful book. I wouldn't have done anything differently. It was incredibly captivating from the get-go. The plot is horrific. It's disturbing. It's exactly what you need from a piece of historical fiction about slavery. It's obviously difficult to read. I would warn people about that before reading, but it's powerful. It's very meaningful, very educational, and it just gets you reflecting on so many different elements of history that we don't always read about or even know about. So everyone, that is it for the end of the reading vlog for The Underground Railroad. This was an amazing book, it really was, and I actually really enjoyed doing this reading vlog. It's not something I've done before, it's obviously a different kind of video, But I thought it was a great way for me to capture my thoughts in the heat of the moment as I was reading, and I was kind of reviewing as I went along. I'm not sure if my ideas are structured particularly well or presented in the most eloquent way. Obviously, I've not really prepared anything when I've been filming these clips like I would do in a sit-down video. Definitely let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video and you want me to do more of them, or if you would prefer a more traditional sit-down review video. Obviously, those sit-down review videos are more familiar to me. I've done a lot more of them before in the past. But this one was just really fun to film. I think it was a very accurate reflection of my journey with the book, through the highs and the lows and the shocking moments and everything. So thank you for watching, everyone. Obviously, I would definitely recommend that you read The Underground Railroad. And until my next video, thanks for watching again, and see you all again later.